Mwahaha. Hi guys, it's Peg, and today I'm going to do a journal page for you, and the reason is because there's another hop going on, and this is a spooky, creepy hop because it's that season of the year, right? And the season I'm talking about is the new season of Stranger Things. Um, I'm going to work in my black uh, delusions. It's got some strange stuff in it anyway. My crocodile, my uh, proceed with extreme caution page. So, I've already got some creepy kinds of things in here, like this, my Jeepers Creepers page. So I'm going to continue with that, and I like the black background. I'm going to skip over that one, and I'm going to go here, and what I'm going to do is use some deli waxed paper in between to kind of keep things nice. I should have a bulldog clip here somewhere. If not, I have this clip to clip things together with. And one on the other side, and I'll be ready to go. Now, this is sponsored by Creative Arts Collaboration, and to be specific, Faith Alafonso, and I'll put a link to her channel down below. But I've started creating some things. I have these letters laid out, and the first thing I want to do on this is to get a little bit of gesso on there. So I'm just going to take my gesso and a brush, and let's see, I need something a little stiffer than that. This is just a utility brush, nothing major. And I'm going to paint those with some gesso so that they're ready to accept some other things. Now I'm using up things out of my stash. These letters are actually some old grunge paper letters that I've been hoarding forever, as we do. And yeah, it's time to use up things that I have, because even though I know I'm going to live forever, this stuff is still going to outlast me. So, so that's telling you how much stuff I've got in my studio here. All right, just about done with that. Then I can set that aside. And move on to the next thing. Good enough. All right. Let me get some water to throw that into. And I will set those aside to dry. And probably a baby wipe to clean my surface. Or just a rag. I've got a rag here. There we go. That works. All right. So the next thing is, on my page, I have selected this stamp from Just Right Stamps because it looks like old, weathered, cracky, peeling paint. And I want to put some of that into the background, just around the edges. So I'm going to get this new Distress Oxide. Because it has a pigment in the ink, it shows up on the black, where normally your inks are a little too translucent to show up on a dark page like this. So let's give this a try. And I'm not doing the whole stamp, because what I want is that into my edges here. To give it that kind of creepy, peely paint stuff. And did I tell you what I'm using is what's called peeled paint right now? And I want to do this edge over here too. Of course, I'm inking up the wrong edge. Tell me when I'm doing something like that. Alright, so where's my rag? Here's my rag. Take some of that off of there. Get this where I want it to go. Stamp that corner. A little bit in here. And just a little bit more over here. All right, I'm liking that. A little bit drippy because it's still wet, and I like to be able to move that a little bit. So I'll dry that off, clean my stamp, and I'll be back. Oops, sorry. Forgot to turn the camera on. What I'm doing right now is I've just grabbed that same peeled paint, and I'm just hitting the edges with some of that to grunge it up. And I think, not sure how this stuff reacts. Let me hit it with a little water here. Yeah. See how it's wicking out a little bit? I like that. Okay, gonna dry again. So what I have now are some paints on just a dollar store palette, and these are Deco Art Media paints and So Soft. I have a Hansa Yellow Medium, Pyrrole Orange, So Soft Metallic Silver, the Cadmium Red Hue, and Quinacridone Burnt Orange on my palette. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint some of my elements. Now, so sorry. One of the things that really struck me about this series was the logo, and it's this vibrant red, which is why I picked the red that I have here. And so my title for the page, Stranger Things, has that vibrant red color. Now where did I put my brush? I'm losing things already. Alright, here we go. So just wet my brush, pick up some of that red, and I'm just going to paint my letters out, probably with a couple of coats of this red to make it as vibrant as the title itself is. And I know you guys don't need to watch paint dry, so I'm going to cut to the next thing. And the next thing is, the other image that stuck with me was the flickering lights. There are flickering lights and light bulbs and strange things with lights all the way through this. And you know, that always gives you that creepy feeling when you see the lights flickering. And so I'm going to also paint out this light bulb. I've got this silver So I'm going to get the top of my screw top light bulb, because one of the lights that really stuck with me was this one hanging from the ceiling. I think it was actually in the very first episode. And if you haven't seen this, go out and see it. I think you can rent the first season now, and it's available on Netflix and a bunch of other places. I don't happen to have Netflix. I caught it elsewhere. So, however you have to go see it, go see it. They're just starting the second season, and I'm sure it's going to be as much fun as the first one was. And, if you have teenage kids, they're going to like this. It might be a little bit scary for the younger folks, but, you know, teens, middles, they're gonna think this is the bomb dickety, whatever. It's uh, it's a fun program. Sucked me right in. I wasn't sure about this. I hadn't seen it at all when the whole collaboration came up. And I thought, well, I like some of these programs. Let me go watch it and see if I can do anything with that. So, yeah, I watched the first episode and it's like I'm hooked. And I sat there for like a day and watched the whole thing, binge watching. And doing just exactly what I told you I wasn't going to do. You're sitting here watching me paint. Okay, I'll be back. Alright, so now I'm going to set this aside to dry while I continue working on my page. And what I have here is a stencil from Deco Art. It's an Andy Skinner stencil, and it's got kind of a swirly pattern to it. So let me get that out. And I'm going to use a sponge that normally you use for pan pastels. It's a very dense sponge. Let me see if I can find one here. Have to dig one out. It's a very dense sponge. You can see mine is well loved and used. And you can wash them out with paint. You can use them over and over again. But I like this because it doesn't squish all over the place. So I'm gonna place my stencil kind of here to one side because I'm going across the two pages, and I'm just going to fill. Let me show you how I do this. I'm going to fill my sponge, and just by kind of dabbing it off, because you don't want it real gloppy. You can see that there's just enough paint there. And before I do that, I should do a little, well, we'll see how this goes. I was thinking maybe I should do some gesso underneath, but right now I'm just going to do the paint, and we'll see how it goes. Oh yeah, I just want a hint. I don't want anything really, in your face, and I can always come back and put more layers over it. And I'm going to change colors because I want this kind of a gradient going out from the center. And I'm going to come around with orange and try to get that in there. And then I'm going to pick up some of that red down here on the bottom. I don't want the red everywhere because I don't want it to fight with my title. I'm actually going to come back and pick up a little more of that yellow. I want the title to stand out, so alright, let's see what that looks like. Okay, can you see the swirl on the page? That's what I'm kind of going for. And I want a little more A little more coming out this way. And down here. And I'll put a little bit more over into this area also. Okay, I'm good with that. I'm just going to wipe off my stencil, put my sponge in the water. When the paint dries, the stencil will be fine. You can, if you want to, you can dump it in a bucket of water and clean all that paint off. I'm not that concerned about it, because once the paint dries, if this was ink, I'd have to clean all the ink off so that it wasn't going to transfer, but this is paint. And I'm also going to see if I can pick up a little bit of that paint with a stamp. I'm afraid it's too dry already. Alright, so we'll let that go. And I want just a little bit of that silver. Let me rinse this out. And I'm going to grab a little bit of that silvery paint. And I'm good with that. All right. So let's move on to the next thing, which is our title. And I have a T-square here because I want to line those letters up. And I'm going to start with the things. Down here at the bottom. And this is why you line it up, because sometimes you start running out of room. So Stranger is going to go above that. That's got a little a little chunk of paint. Okay, Stranger Things. Looks pretty good on the page. So what I want to do is make sure that these are all lining up. So I'm just going to start at one end, and I'm going to use some let's see. Yeah, I'm going to use some Yoo-Hoo glue stick, and then I'm going to tack it down. I think I can tack it down with just a little bit of hot glue. So I'll get my title down and then I'll be back. So I apologize, I lost some footage, but I've added the November 6th Hawkins, Indiana. That has to do with when the events started to occur and my drop-down light bulb. And I hope you join the other hoppers and see what they have created. And thanks for stopping by today.